Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Tadina and I come from Daly City, and this is my Stanford acceptance letters. Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Tadina and I come from Daly City, and this is the story of my acceptance. Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Tadina and I come from Daly City, and this is the story of my acceptance to Stanford. Hope you guys like it. Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Tadina and I come from Daly City, California, and this is the story of my acceptance to Stanford University. Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Tadina and I come from Daly City, California, and this is a story of what happened to me the day I got my acceptance letter from Stanford University. Hope you guys like it. So before I found out that I was accepted, I was actually in a very depressed stupor because I was sure that I wouldn't get into Stanford. Because I was sure that I wouldn't get into Stanford. Well, prior to finding out that I was accepted, I was actually in this very So prior to finding out that I was accepted, I was actually in this very depressed state of mind because I was pretty sure that I wouldn't get in. However, like everything else in my life, my acceptance letter came to me so randomly and so unexpectedly. I remember it was a Friday afternoon. It was an early evening, late afternoon, and I was sitting in my bed and I was on my computer surfing the internet and looking at people on Facebook, looking at people's statuses, reading people's statuses on Facebook. And then I remember it was late afternoon, early evening in February, way before the actual decisions were released. I remember the window, I remember it was a late Friday afternoon or early Friday evening. I remember it happened on a Friday. It was probably a late afternoon or an early evening. I was pretty sure that it was dark outside from looking at it by the window. I remember it was a okay. I remember it was a late. What the heck am I talking about? No, I remember it was a Friday. Oh, I remember it was a Friday. I remember it was a Friday afternoon or I remember it was a Friday late afternoon or an early evening in late February. I remember it was a Friday afternoon in probably early March when I found out about my decision. It was way before official decisions were released, and I was sitting on my couch. I was on the internet surfing the web and looking at people's statuses on Facebook when suddenly my dad comes into the room and he hands me a letter, and it was opened, and I was like, what's this letter? And then my dad was like, he was smiling. I mean, he wasn't glad. I mean, no, okay. how do I describe this? My dad was just smiling when he handed me the letter. He wasn't so overly ecstatic, but he had this look in his face that he was just like, you know, so proud of me at that moment. I can't really describe it. But, so he handed me the letter, the envelope, and, oh wait, no. So I was in Facebook, wait, no. So I was sitting on the bed, surfing the web, looking up people's statuses on Facebook, when suddenly my dad comes in the room and prods me with an envelope, a thin envelope from, no. Okay. I was sitting on my bed, no. I was sitting on my couch. I was sitting on my couch, no, okay. I was sitting on my couch, surfing the web, looking at people's statuses on Facebook, when suddenly my dad comes in the room. And at first I didn't take a look at him. At first I didn't take a look at him. I didn't turn around to take a look. Wait. First I didn't turn around to take a look at him. I was busy. Well, at first I didn't take a look at him. Well, at first I didn't turn around to take a look at him. But then he prodded me with this thin envelope, and he told me with a smile on his face, "This is it." He told me. At first I didn't look at him. I didn't even turn. At first I didn't look at him. I didn't turn at him. No. At first I didn't turn to look at him, but then he prodded me with a thin white envelope on my right shoulder. And when I turned to look at him, he had this smile on his face, and he told me, "This is it." He told me in Tagalog, "This is it. You got into Stanford. You got accepted." And at first I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's a thin piece of paper. So he prodded me with, the first thing that was on my mind after he said that was, "My dad opened my mail." No. No, actually that wasn't my first thought. Never mind. Okay. So, at first I didn't take a look at him. No. At first I didn't turn to take a look at him until he prodded me with a thin white envelope, which he had already opened. And when I asked him what was going on, he had this smile on his face. It was just a very quiet but proud smile on his face. And he told me in Tagalog that this is it. You got in. You got into Stanford. And when I looked at the envelope, and when I looked at what he was holding, at first I couldn't believe it. I mean, don't acceptance letters usually come in thick envelopes and not thin ones? At first I actually thought that, oh, this is actually a rejection letter, that my application sucked so much that they're just sending me an early one just to reject me. And however, at first I thought it was a rejection letter. However, when I opened it, when I read the first words, "Dear Catherine Ann, gives me great pleasure to inform you that initial reviews of your application indicate that you will be offered admission to Stanford. You will after that sentence, I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was just so emotional back then. I started crying for a whole 30 minutes. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, I got in, oh my god, I got in, oh my god. And I did that for like a whole 30 minutes. My dad looked at me. I did that for a whole 30 minutes, not kidding, because I remember the TV was on, and by the time I finished crying, it was like the end of the show, like the show that was on TV already. And I remember it was like 5:30 p.m. probably, and it was already dark outside when I opened the letter. Yeah, I cried and I was jumping around the house and like screaming. It was just crazy. I acted so crazy that time. I think that I cried so loud and it sounded like I was in pain that I think I was crying so much and for so long. They didn't know I was, I think I was crying so much and for so long that I think the neighbors probably thought I was crazy or like I was in pain or something, but no, it was just out of sheer joy. I'm like, I just couldn't believe I got in, and an early letter, no less. That's just, you know, just so amazing to be one of the few hundred people out of 1,500 people who got accepted to Stanford to have received such a letter. I just feel like, you know, it's an honor. When you think about it, even now, I'm just like, you know, so speechless. This is just awesome. You know, I was jumping around the house. I was yelling, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I got in, oh my god, oh my god, I got in. And I was crying too, so it was like, oh my god, I got in. You know, my neighbors must have thought that I was crazy or in pain or something because of the way that I was yelling and just like crying. It was just crazy, crazy, crazy time. And at first I didn't believe that the letter was real, because the thought that was going on in my mind was like, what if this was a cruel prank that was perpetrated by someone who just, you know, oh, what if this was a cruel prank? But then I found out that it was actually a likely letter that was sent by the university to a couple hundred people. And, you know, I just felt like, you know, so honored that I was one of the people that was chosen to be getting this letter. You know, I will be putting this up in a frame. Seriously, when I grow up, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna put it in my house and like just put it in a golden frame, you know, all embellished and all. It's just special. It's the most special letter that I've ever gotten, ever. And that is pretty much it. And then when I got my acceptance letter official, and then when I got my acceptance letter, yeah. And then when I got my official acceptance letter come April 1, I wasn't as surprised, but, you know, I wasn't as surprised, but, you know, when I got it for the first time, it was pretty emotional. It was just crazy. Yeah, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. Wow, it's pretty late. So yeah, hope you guys like my story. Awkward.